Well, hello there. Welcome to Women Around a Table Eating Food. We're Nic and Jen, therapist and writer, partners in crime, and lifelong best friends. Around here, WTF means what the food. And it's our excuse to go deep, get real, and share the kind of messy conversations that usually stay between us and a plate of something delicious. So sit back, grab a bite, and join our conversation.
I sat with the robot, my favorite robot, who I don't know if I've ever told you that I named her India. Did I tell you that I gave her a name?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
So it's now I've gotten to a point where we just have such a good symbiotic relationship. Like I really feel like I work with her in a way that she allows me to be the best version of myself and she helps me think and
Mm,
I kind of just I put I type to her the way I would like a another thinker, like a partner. And I'm,
yeah.
full sentences and I upload my work and so I gave her so much background and together we shaped out like she just like, you know, I don't know, like it just I every time I do something with her, I feel it feels fun. Like I feel like I loathe a lot of the conversations that everybody has about AI and what it's going to do to our brains. And, we had an interesting conversation about AI here with
Mm.
Finn one night, being a 16-year-old and being wildly principled and believing in absolutely everything that they say. I mean, they're very curious and extremely good at going to sources and reading all kinds of different viewpoints and whatnot. But, as we're growing, as like you obviously know the role that you are in and the clients that you see, that is an age of formation and formation of our values and our
Mm.
thoughts and just what we believe and what we disbelieve. And Finn was super wicked against AI.
Yeah, I
And we
remember.
we were having, and then I had said to and some part of a conversation came up about the demographic of people who have embraced it the most, and it's
Mm.
messy midlifers, right? And so,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
I was I apologize if I've told you this already, but we
Mhm.
were Finn and Parker was cooking, Finn was in the kitchen, I was buzzing in and out, and they were remarking about the age group, us being the ones who use it. And I said, yeah, I said, it's because we're too fucking busy. I said,
Yeah,
we're just like, we've gone to school. We have gotten the degrees. We do all the reading on the regular. We're lucky if we can sit down and read at the end of a day or be able to spend time that's like leisurely to be able to do these things. I said, we know how to research. We knew how to read a map before there was fucking map quests. Like,
yeah,
if our parents raised us well, like we have these tools. The reason why midlifers can like AI as much as we do is because we just need some help.
yeah.
We just want somebody to just make it F percent
100%.
easier, right?
Yeah.
Just
It's
a little
so
bit.
it's so fascinating when you talk about how like you interact with India and just how uh is it a she, a they,
She's a she. She's a
she?
she
Ha,
because can I just tell you, because on Guiding Light when I was a little girl,
yeah.
my mom and I used to watch that, and which is really kind of interesting considering how strict they were about everything. But she and I used to watch Guiding Light, and there was a character named India, and from
Mm.
the age of 7, 8, 9, I thought that that was such a beautiful name, and so it came out of ink writing. I loved the color indigo, and then it morphed
Mm.
into India, and I felt
India.
like a real connection to that name. That's why I named my robot India. Continue, please.
I
Go
was
on.
going to say, I find it so
Mm.
funny that how you interact with her is just in like full sentences, Rose, like your voice. I am like, I put the word in. Like I literally put,
Tell me, like, give me an example. By the way, I want to
Um,
use all of this. Like, I want to, like, hey girl, hey, let's start. Like, I know what we're going to
yeah.
talk about and everything today, but this is just, I want to, how do you use her? It.
So let me just like bring her up for a second. I was trying to get some ideas for what I was going to make for um Christmas meal. I'm like, Christmas meal, pork and fennel. And so give me, and so that's beautiful. A very Christmas pork and fennel meal that feels elevated but not fuzzy. All I said was Christmas meal, pork and fennel.
Oh, I'm surprised that you didn't fucking write pork penis.
I did
that,
not. I
and
did
that,
not.
that would have been funny. Hmm.
Um, or if I need to know, like I was looking at what is the best AI app for Zoom. I just simply
Hmm.
put best
Hmm.
AI app for like I'm minimal
Oh,
bullet
that's
points
hilarious,
and just give it to me. So
girl.
he, they, I don't know what mine is
Yeah, I was going to
yet. They
ask
have
if you personify it.
no, no,
No.
I don't. On my, but I will say on my
Hmm.
phone, she's Val.
Okay. Oh, is that the
Because
voice that you chose for
yeah,
her? Because you speak into
yeah,
her. Okay.
yeah, I
Yeah.
speak into her
Yeah.
and she talks back to me in a British accent. And I think actually her name is Vale, but I call her Val.
Okay.
So,
Might
and
be
she said
valet.
it might be. She doesn't mind it though. So when I do my phone, I always speak it in.
Mm.
And then she speaks it back to me. I kind of
I
like
love.
that better because it's like I don't have to type shit and I can just talk into
I
there.
know.
Like I don't got time to type. And you know that based on the texts I
I
send you.
know.
And that's why I like have to pick up like the voice text because I just don't, I'm not the
I
typer.
don't mind it. It's okay. It's okay. I was looking, well, first off, I feel like I need to go back and just I didn't just blurt out pork penis for no reason. I mean, everybody should know that you used to jovially call pork tenderloin pork penis.
Or
At a
penis,
time when
yes.
you didn't like it as much and I did, and anytime I made it, that's what you would say, and it was just very funny and all that. And I was
Yes.
looking over at my shelf because I read a really interesting book earlier in the year, short book about AI, and it was written by a Wharton professor about how he was teaching his students how to use it, its benefits, to how to get as much out of it as possible. It was really, and he just put a lot of thought, leadershipy type stuff into this book. It'd be super nice if I could give him a plug, for all five people who listen to us. But it'd be nice if I could remember what it's called.
In the
I
show
and I
notes, baby. That's
in
what
the
it's
show
for.
notes. There we go. There we go. There we go. Well, you just made me laugh so hard. I had tears when you said that you just write just words, because that is just so. I mean, this robot
Bullet
knows my
points.
fucking life story. I mean,
Yeah.
I said, please update your memory to take into consideration that this. I mean, and then nothing makes me
Wow.
happier than when I see memory updated. It's like
You're like,
she gets me.
wait a minute. Like you're like besties with India. I'm feeling something about
No,
this. I'm
no,
feeling it.
girl. Oh,
You're
take it
right.
back. Take it back.
I don't get
That
memory
was wrong.
updates.
You don't need them. I don't need to tell you. Please add this. Please add this to your central
Oh
processing unit. Remember this
my
about me in the
goodness.
future. Oh, that
Oh
is
my
funny.
goodness.
That is
Mhm.
funny.
Yeah, bullet points.
Hmm. So, hey, girl. Hey, this
Hey,
is our, what we're intending to be, our Christmas episode.
it's going to come out next week because what's today is the 18th, right?
Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
it's going to come out on Christmas Day. Excuse me while I pour my. So I keep it in my little mug here, my little
And I like
thermos,
that.
and so it stays warm. And look how beautiful that is.
I'm
Isn't it
telling you.
gorgeous?
Tell everybody what
Mm.
this is. I don't think that you drink, were you drinking this when Chastity was on with us? I can't remember.
No,
No.
this one is. So I take my butterfly pea flower and put it in the tea bag, let it steep for 5 minutes, and then while that's happening, I warm up a little bit of pistachio milk with some
Right.
matcha. And then I
Right.
take the little, what is it called? Frother, and I
Mm.
froth it, and then I put it in the thing, and then I have it, And then I pour it in a cute little cup because, like, why wouldn't you drink it out of a cute
Why
little cup
wouldn't
like
you?
this? And then I just
Bodum,
sip it.
double-walled Bodum. Looks like the espresso size. Not a sponsor. Definitely not
No,
opposed.
not pause. Amen to
Please,
that.
please,
So,
please, please.
so yes,
I
this is going to come out on Christmas. Go ahead.
I was going to ask a follow-up about the
Oh,
pistachio milk and
yeah.
wondering whether or not that was, did you make it from scratch and is it sweetened?
It is not sweetened. I did not make it from scratch. It is nut pod.
Okay.
Not a
Mm,
sponsor, not opposed at all.
right.
Like their flavors too.
Mm.
So during the fall, of course, I get the nut pod pumpkin spice. During the winter, peppermint mocha is on repeat
Oh,
right
yum.
now. And then every now and then Heather does, when I make her double espresso with some nut milk, I do their French vanilla for her.
Mm,
And then when I want to do my green tea matcha butterfly pea flower scenario, it's just plain pistachio milk.
mm. All right. I think
Amazing.
I may try these out. And Miss Erin Rebecca will be here next week for the Christmas holiday. And I'd like to make sure that I have some things here for her as well. She likes my almond milk, but
Yeah,
and I
and
don't like to
yours
put my
is,
almond milk in. Well, it's so I'm so attached to it that I don't like using it in. I don't put it in coffee. I don't put it in tea. I don't cook with it.
no,
If I make homemade
no.
orgeat, which I make homemade orgeat, which is an almond. It's almond milk. It's an almond milk base, but it's like a syrup to use in cocktail recipes. They don't have to be alcoholic,
Oh,
but mostly it's a cocktail additive. But that almond milk can't be sweetened. But my recipe with the dates and the allspice and the salt and the vanilla,
stupid
that
good.
is, I just like to have it by itself. My
Yeah.
potassium
Well,
with my
don't you use it with your oh God, golden milk too? Don't you make golden milk with your almond
yes,
milk?
yes. Thank you. See, I don't need to update your fucking memory. I don't need to tell you that because you just remember my golden milk. Yes, that is the basis for my golden milk at night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes, so of course you're getting ready for Christmas, evidenced by Christmas pork and fennel. Oh goodness. I
Let you go.
apologize. It looks like, oh, here we go. I don't know how to I don't know how to turn off the phone. The phone's getting a ringy. We're just going to have to
Phones.
let it.
I'll
Sorry.
just sway. I'll just
Oh,
sway for
there you go.
everybody.
Sorry about that. I don't know how to turn off. guess I probably can just turn off my ringer. Do I
You
turn
can
off the ringer on
do not disturb.
because I just got a phone call and I've never gotten a phone call while we've been on before. It's never happened before. And I have a do not disturb on as well, but
On. Hmm,
weird because it says in a
strange.
video meeting. Anyway, uh, we were talking about holiday meals
Yes.
and cooking and all of that stuff, but we we came up with a title for this show, which we were affectionately referring to it when we were thinking about what we were going to talk about on this day as our everything I ever needed to know I learned from A Christmas Carol.
Christmas
Right?
Carol. Yes. Yes.
And why did we
Yes.
why were we why is that, let's start off by why is that movie important to you, Nicole?
Well, Jennifer, it is. So it's a movie that my dad introduced me to. Um, Gosh, I can't even remember when we started watching it. I believe I was probably around 9 or 10, I think, when we started watching it. Is that right? I don't remember. It's sometime young. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But for I'm being almost 50, that's a lot of years.
Mm,
So we started watching A Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve, and it was one of his favorite ones. And I watched, what is it, the Alistair Sims one, and
hmm.
then of course, the piece de resistance, the most wonderful one ever, is the
The George C. Scott one.
George C. Scott. Thank you
That's
very
the one
much.
that you guys that was your
Yeah.
favorite, right? I was telling that to Parker the other day because he only
Oh,
watched the Alistair one and
yeah.
he was very he's very intrigued by the George C. Scott one, and now we're going to watch that one because that's the one that Nick likes.
It's he is the perfect Scrooge, like
Mm,
legitimately the perfect Scrooge. And it's even more poignant now, obviously, like as we were talking about what we were going to discuss today around death and dying and mortality and living and presence. And at the time when I was a kid, I obviously wasn't thinking about any of those things. I just loved the
right.
story. I loved the acting. Oh my God, I'm so fucking hot. I think I'm having a hot flash.
Oh, girl, I'm
Do you
sorry.
see? Do you see how red I am right now? Can you see?
Slightly, but you
Hold
just
on.
look a little, you look a little flushed.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all.
all good. This happens. I'm just gonna bring a little fan closer to me. This welcome to the messy midlife. This is what
I
happens.
know. Sorry.
Huh, all good, all good. We roll with it. At least there's not like, furious rage coming out of me or anything like that today. So that's good. So anyway, it just feels over the past 5 years, maybe 5, 10 years, it's been so much more poignant
Mm,
of a movie because of all of the, I think, loss and death and grief that you and I have both actually experienced. So
mm,
I look at it now and experience it now with just a much more mature lens.
mm. I think I can remember watching. It's funny. I remember all the Disney books that we had when we were little, or like, you'd have a you'd have Disney characters that would tell different stories. Like, for example, one of these days I had to show you my cover of Button Soup, right? I named my
Mm.
company Button Soup
Yep.
Consulting because it was based on the fable of Stone Soup. And
Mm.
everybody, the community doesn't have anything to eat, but everybody brings one ingredient, puts it in the pot, they create a soup, they feed their community. And and Disney did a version of it called Button Soup, where it was Daisy and Daffy Duck on the cover, and but in that one, everybody, it starts with a button, someone puts a button in, and
Mm.
then when I was naming my company, the idea of making something out of nothing, crafting words,
Mm.
crafting a story, crafting a brand, working with someone, like I love that. Anyway, my first memory of A Christmas Carol is with Scrooge McDuck. And so, because it was
Stop.
Donald
Really?
Duck who played Scrooge McDuck, and so the whole thing was in the
Oh my
Donald Duck
God,
voice, which
no.
I would never even pretend to do because I would do it horribly. But that was my attachment to it, and that was my introduction to it. And I think I was always very, I mean, I don't know about you, but can you go back to your 9-year-old self, and for as
Mm.
grown up and old soul as you were? I mean, don't you think that you felt it? Didn't that story mean something to you even then, about the
Mm.
whole, this is your past, this is your present, this is your future?
Mm.
I feel like I was very aware of
Mm.
it, and I would imagine that you had to have
Mm.
been.
I don't think so. To be honest with you,
No?
if I'm being honest with you, no. I think it was why it was so meaningful to me is because it was something that just my dad and I did together. So it
Okay.
probably could have been anything. It could have been
Mm,
any movie or anything, but it was just a quiet, wonderful ritual to do together. And to what I remember of the early times is just watching him be so excited to watch it
mm,
rather than the story itself. I didn't really make meaning of the story itself probably till I was in my teenage years,
mm,
honestly. Yeah, such a fun memory because, my mom would make fun of us, she wasn't into it. So it got to be just like a daddy daughter thing, kind of like, when you've you had your daddy daughter days, right? Did
sure.
you did you do those around Christmas, by the way? Did you do
Yeah.
a daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that started when I was about, I want to say I feel like we had to have done it earlier in middle school. 13, maybe 14. But I think I really remember it starting the first year that I wanted to go by Matt, my
Mm.
boyfriend in high school, whom I
Mm.
just
Hey, Matt.
adored. Hey, Matt. Hey, just loved him then, love him now. His beautiful family, Maria and his 3 kids. I wanted to buy Matt a shirt. I wanted to get him a button down. I wanted him to have something that he could wear. And Daddy took me, he decided that he was going to pick me up from school and he was going to plan an afternoon and then we were going to go someplace and we were going to shop. And that
Mhm.
is burned in my memory because we went down to the Cape. We were in the Hyannis area. I think we maybe even went to San Diego's for dinner. I mean, I
Oh
can't
my
even
God.
like I can't even
Still,
exactly
it's
remember
still
that.
there.
Still there. But I remember that, and then it became a shopping expedition, right? To buy for mom,
Mm,
buy for Aaron, and he never liked anybody to know what he was getting anybody. So
mm,
he's often, even if he would take me to do the
mhm,
shopping, but he would do his own shopping. And then as years went on, it just turned into his choosing a place for us to go, and then we would just go for a fabulous dinner. So it was
mm,
not unusual for us to drive all the way up to the Equinox in Vermont, where we had some really amazing family memories, or go all the way to Stockbridge,
mm.
excuse me, where he and my mom had memories, and then drive all the way home all in a day. We'd be in the car
Yeah.
for 6 hours to go for
Wow.
supper. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes, it was then. So I didn't realize that only you and your dad watched it. I thought that your whole fam sat
Mm,
down and watched it. That's even more special.
mm-mm. Yeah. There were times when I think my mom would watch it with us early on, and a bit depending on what time it was, she'd fall asleep or
You were
or what
silently
have
pissed that she intruded on your time. Like, what the hell? Ma, come on.
Um, but then once, then my parents got divorced and we moved down. Mom, Frank, my stepfather, and I moved down to North Carolina. So then it wasn't a thing that my dad and I did, but
Mm,
it was a thing that I continued. And that at that time, Mom and Frank did join me. Like, so when we were down
mm,
there, they knew that on Christmas Eve we were going to watch a Christmas Carol because that's what my dad and I did. So, and then, of course, on Christmas Day, I talked to my dad and, did you watch it last night? Yeah, did you watch it last night? And,
nice.
just reminisce and things like that. So my mom did entertain it, once we lived apart from my dad, which is
Mm.
beautiful.
And it was probably nice for him to know that you still watched it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, until the first year, last year was the first year that I didn't watch it. So he passed away in October of last year. And so, and you would have thought that that would have been the year that even more poignant to watch it. But I wasn't in a place where I just couldn't, I wasn't
Yeah,
ready
no.
yet to watch it. Like, he passed like October 19th. And so, and previously to that, 2 months before, my brother passed away. So we had like,
Mm,
like back to back
mm,
deaths. And so I will be watching it this year again.
mm. What's the shift? Like what
Um,
makes you stronger and drawn to it? I completely know why you didn't last year, but why does this year feel okay?
because I think it's the time that's passed. A
Mhm.
lot of people say that with grief and things like that, time heals, which is, I think, true, but it's also what you do with the time. So, I think last year I was just so exhausted from, everything with my brother who died of bile duct cancer. And then, my dad died of complications from COPD. And I was just exhausted. And so, like, I didn't
Mm,
have the emotional reserves to, like, because I knew I was going to cry. I'm sure I would cry, or maybe I would. I don't even know what it was, but it was just like, I can't right now. I actually just
yeah.
need to be quiet and still. And but now this year, I feel like I've gone through the gauntlet of all of the the deaths in 2024, that I'm looking forward to it. And now it's
Mm,
something where, I believe that we can have relationships with our loved ones after they've passed over.
hmm.
And with my dad, it's been a little bit hard to establish that connection for
Mm,
me. And just in seeking some, guidance of some mediums and psychics and things like that I trust. Um, it makes sense too, because, what I've been told is what I felt, and what Heather has felt also is that my dad is in a life review. And so we really
Mm,
don't have a lot of access to one another in the way in which, for instance, my brother and I do, right?
mm,
My brother is very kind of um, present, and I feel his energy. He's visited me in dreams in really profound ways and had conversations with me. And so this also feels like an opportunity to connect with my dad in a new
mm.
way at this point that I feel excited for.
Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about a life review for folks who might not know what that is?
Mm,
Because I think it's a
mm.
really beautiful and also can feel like a sticky thing and that
Yeah.
we on this side might be afraid of. And but just describe it a little bit, what you know of it
Yeah.
and
What
what you
I
believe
know
of
is
it.
very like
Mm.
it's very rudimentary, kind of like how I interact with AI. So it's pro
Hit me.
what I know about a
Pork,
life review.
fennel,
It's
Christmas,
it's
delicious.
exactly
Go.
Christmas Caracle life review is it's kind of like purgatory, but not. You know what I mean? Like when we think of
Hmm.
purgatory being kind of stuck in the middle,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily a bad thing like purgatory is, but it's in that place of just making meaning of one's life and making sense of a lot of
Mm,
things that happened. Um, and kind of going through that reflection process before transitioning to the other side. So it's kind of like
mm,
stuck in the middle. So there's not a lot of access to communicating, because he's kind of doing his work on the other side that he never did in his
mm,
lifetime here, which is very reflective of my dad. My dad was not a very he was a very jolly man. He was a very kind of put your best foot forward type of presentation,
mm,
joyful, kind, thoughtful, generous, but didn't really talk about the depths of his emotional pain
mm,
or past. Like he came from a very, very abusive household. His
mm,
father was very, very abusive to all of the kids in my dad's family. I only met my grandfather once on that side.
mm.
He died when I was very young, but he was a former military guy and alcoholic. And so like kind of the stuff that he put those kids through, or like when we talk about trauma, we hear people talk about trauma a lot. Little T trauma, big T trauma. There was some fucking big T trauma in my dad's past
Mm.
that he never processed. And then, just the whole divorce, and then his marriage going forward after my mom, and so much that he never really delved into or shared. So I think a lot of it is him working through that, like
Yeah.
the access we didn't have to him because his wife didn't like my brother or myself. And so the only time we could visit him was at his office for 30
Mm.
years. We couldn't go to his home, and the only place we could communicate was at his office. And so there was a lot that he's probably reflecting on and working through.
I wonder if it knowing all of that makes me think about why he would have been so drawn, or maybe it's not that surprising that he was drawn to A Christmas
Okay.
Carol, because
Yeah.
it was I mean, that in and of itself, it's sort of like your dad has kind of been going through probably his own Christmas Carol experience where he is,
Yeah,
right? So
totally.
he saw if
Totally.
he was not able to access all of those emotions, or he wasn't modeled all of that as a young
Hmm.
boy, then here we go. He sees this movie, he sees what could be, what is, or and what was. I don't know. It feels like it
Yeah.
all of that makes sense. You were talking about Peter coming to you in dreams. I think I told you. Did I tell you? No, I told Parker that I had a dream about my dad, like only the first time. I mean, I've maybe had three dreams about him since he died in 2014. And when I dreamt about him last week or the week before, I could see his face, and he I don't remember if I don't think he didn't speak, but you know how when we dream, sometimes it's like it was you, but it wasn't you. You know, Michael
Yeah.
McIntyre, the British actor, comedian, does a beautiful bit about how no one ever really wants to hear about your dreams, which is actually making me question even bringing this up with you right now. But it's just interesting
No,
little.
no, because I have something to ask you about it. So go ahead.
It's a little tidbit, but it looked like him, and it was
Mm,
him in his, I don't know, like him maybe in his healthy 50s, 60s.
mm,
And it was after I'd come back from visiting you because you were checking my form, my lifting form, and you were making sure that I was doing things correctly. And in the dream, and it was a flash, he I walked into a room and he was picking up a weight, a free weight, and it was like he was going to be doing windmills with it. Like he just picked up, it wasn't a heavy weight, but it was like he was
yeah.
just, and for everybody not on the YouTube, like I'm just waving my arm like an idiot. Like he starts whipping his arm around, and I run over to him and I said, Dad, no, no, you're gonna, you're gonna tear your rotator cuff again because he had had that surgery. So it's interestingly in the dream, I knew that he had had surgery when I
Wow.
was in college, and like you're gonna tear it again. Like no, I just Nick just showed me the right way to do it. Here, let me show you. And so I was in that moment. He looked like
Mm,
him. I remembered that he had had a surgery. I knew that I had been to your house last month.
yeah.
I remembered what we had done. And then I got down on the floor and I went to go and try to show him how to do a thing. And then I rolled over
Well done.
and I
And he was
woke
gone.
up enough, and I so wanted to get back into that
Did you
dream.
try to
And it
get
was,
back into
of
it?
course, like you lay
Yeah.
over and you're like, okay, if I just close my eyes, I'll just be able to get right back where I was. And it never fucking happens. But
Yeah.
it was, like just from a subconscious perspective, I loved the fact that I was so many little pieces had been so present in that moment. And it also made me so happy because I feel him around me all the time and I talk to him
Mm,
all the time, but I have not had him come to me in a dream
wow.
space like that. And nor I don't have situations where I see a thing and I think that he presents in a visual way. It's usually just
Mm,
I just sometimes look around and I wonder if he's just standing there or if,
mm,
he's sometimes when you're doing something that maybe you don't want your dad doing, sometimes you're like, oh,
mm.
geez, I hope that they all have the presence of mind in the afterlife
Yeah.
to not
To
go where
like
they
walk
shouldn't when they
away,
shouldn't, if you know what I mean. Like we were close,
walk
but
away.
you just want a veil. You want a little bit of a veil. But anyway, so yeah, I had a dream. I had a dream.
What
Mm.
have you ever um taken that dream and speaking of AI, spoken it in to India and said provide me with a Freudian dream analysis of this dream or whatever like modality, Jungian, but Heather and I do Freudian and see what it spits out. It's
No,
insane.
I've never, no, I have never,
I'll
I
send you
have
the one.
never,
I'll send you the one I did the other day. And Heather started this because she's so fucking brilliant. And so I had a dream the other day. This is not about dead daddies. Um, I had a dream the other day, and Joanna Gaines was in it.
oh,
It was on. It was on
well, isn't it?
Tuesday.
She's everybody's fucking dream. Are you kidding me? Give me a break.
Right, right. I know a good podcast that she should probably take under
Oh my
the
goodness, Miss Joanna.
Magnolia.
Oh my goodness, please. Not a sponsor. Please, please find us. We so support you wholeheartedly. You, Chip, the family, Waco,
Little
Heart
Crew.
Waco,
Oh, Crew
everybody.
is such a little doll. Anyway, I
Mm,
had this dream about her, and it was Heather and I were going into this antique shop that it was kind of reminiscent of one that we've been in Norwalk that you wouldn't know because it's like this warehouse, and then you walk in and it's this gorgeous, like custom furniture, antiques. We'll have
mm,
to take you there at some point. It's
mm,
so, so cool.
please.
And we walk in, and we're the only ones in there except for Jojo, and she's like seemingly the owner. And I
Of
remember
course.
looking at her being like awestruck for a second, but then being like, this is totally normal. this is like super cool.
Mm-mm.
And she's like, hey, how you doing? And we're like, oh, we're great. Just popping in. She's like, yeah, make yourself at home. Look around. Let me know if you have any questions. And then
Did she
her
look
son,
like her?
yep,
Like,
looked
did
like
she
her.
did. Okay.
Yep. And then her
That's
little
neat.
son Crew was there. And we said hello to him and we just walked around and like that was the end of it. So I put that into I put it into Chat GPT and I just want to, I, let me just find it real quick. I want to just, I'll give you
Mm.
just a snippet because so the prompt, oh, of course, now I can't find it. Never mind. The prompt was
Oh,
basically I said all of that and I had it and analyze it for me. And it was just fascinating about my like where I am now in my life and my creativity and coming home to myself. And that's why I felt so
mm.
familiar. And Joanna Gaines not being some sort of idol, but like my internal, like foundational self being mirrored by her. Like it was very, very cool.
So let's just talk. Let's break from ghosts of Christmas past, present, future for a moment, and dead daddies and
Yeah.
all that and grief.
The daddy hair.
So dead daddy. Oh yeah, we can talk about that. Uh, this podcast really meant something to you for us to start. This like
Yes.
you don't like you have done you have had pursuits in past, but I would venture to say that aside from back in the 2000s when you were doing some recordings for a time. Do you remember Namaste
My
by Nick?
Namaste by Nick.
Yeah, it was I loved it. Like I thought it was fantastic. And you were dabbling in, what it would look like if you wrote and you recorded. It was kind of like doing an early podcast then, but this doing this now, having a creative outlet, showing up, being real, messy midlife, not stopping recording when a fucking hot flash comes on, like just our being able to be super intentional about making time to see one another because life gets so frenetic. Oh my gosh, I mean that's a lesson that we've learned from A Christmas Carol,
Sure.
of course,
Yeah.
embracing life. But I think the fact that you saw her and that analyzation was about your creative side, and I mean
Mm.
this was born from you along those lines. I mean, without AI knowing how we came up with this. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like it's all kind of as we look to the end of the year, and this is our last episode of the year. It's a beautiful thing to not to have the robot validate you, but to have your subconscious kind of validate the fact that what we are
Mm.
doing with this and what this space is for you and for me and for us, it is right where we should be right now. And ironically,
Mm.
and I'm not, I mean, my goodness, if she ever heard this, how grateful would we be? But we talked early on about how we felt like the connection that we have and the vision that we have for the people that we want to bring on and helping people and
Mm.
connecting with people. It would be the absolute kind of thing that Magnolia would, it felt like it would gel and it would mesh. And maybe this was
Right.
your subconscious kind of noodling on that a
Mm.
little bit more and maybe setting us up for how we promote season 2 next year and what we do. But I think it's all so real and feels so right and true, right down to your dream about it. I think it's amazing.
Well, what you're also bringing up is that from now on, I am not going to speak it into AI. I'm going to speak it into Jennifer, my dream, so you can interpret that shit.
Well, I mean, I think that maybe all of my thoughts were just sparked by what you told me that AI said to you. So I don't know if I would trust me entirely. But
Fuck that Freudian shit. Go to
uh,
Jen Chase
Jenny
Cohen.
and Chase Cohen, Jen Chase Cohen, because Aaron
Dream
can't
analysis.
say dream analysis by Jen Chase Cohen. Perfect. Oh, that is funny. No, I think
Yeah.
yes, I love that for you. I love that for us. I love that you
Mm.
heard all of that and I hope you just feel validated about where you are
Yeah.
and what you're doing and all the things, all the things.
Let me ask you a question, just kind of in that realm of like, because I do think it like A Christmas Carol is so poignant, particularly like with the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. It made me start to think a little bit about if the ghost of Christmas past showed up for you tonight, like what memory would you hope that they would bring? And what memory would you dread?
Mm. So I have to wonder, or I have to ask clarifyingly, is that like any memory that I would dread? One about
Journalist.
Chris or one about Christmas that I would dread? And a
Any,
happy
any.
um oh geez. This almost
But
made
go
my
for the
body just go numb.
go first with the one that you would hope that the ghost of Christmas past would shine a light on.
Ooh, I'm gonna keep it in the realm of Christmas memories. How's that? As opposed to just life. Because all of a sudden I just did the fastest fucking reflection on all the things that I feel like I have done that have been shitty in my life. And we only have 25 more minutes in theory to record this, and we don't have enough time for me to go through that kind of self-flagellation. But I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna say that if wow, I'm actually making myself cry. I'm gonna say that if I remember a beautiful memory or a couple beautiful memories, one simply, truly is the feeling. And mom, I know that I love you so much. I know that you don't really remember to listen to this podcast or you watch it or anything like that, but I'm just going to speak to her right now because it's funny. I've called her twice this week to thank her for something that she's done around the holidays in past. It's stuck with me. But my mother and father created a feeling in our home at Christmas time and at the holidays. But Thanksgiving, yes, and that is my favorite holiday. But at Christmas in particular, just around the food, the prep, the love, the people being in the house. We never had a lot of people come over. It was us and Erin. Nanny came over in the afternoon because she went to my uncle's house in the morning. And I had this incredible, I'm flooded with being at Rockland Street, the house that we lived in when I was in college, and watching my mom either make pie crust or her mincemeat turnover crust. And having uh, Bing Crosby playing in the background and singing Mele Kiliki Makwa and his White
Yeah.
Christmas at that album and hacking it and laughing so hard and, just having a wonderful
Mm.
time doing very simple, basic things. And we had some Christmases and some Thanksgivings where, when my parents had lost my dad's business and we were getting package like a gift pack from the church, food brought to our house because they wanted to make
Mm.
sure that we had what we needed. Like we had extraordinary highs when his business was wonderful, and then we had Schitt's Creek lows when his business
Mm.
absolutely tanked, and they lost everything multiple times. But the aura of the house was beautiful. And so I would
Mm.
want to, and even right now, like I can go back to Rockland Street right now, and I can remember standing in the kitchen and seeing her and rolling and going into the family room, the space of the famous. We want linguiça. You want linguiça pizza? We got a linguiça
Hmm.
pizza. Like like that little
Yeah.
walkway between the kitchen and that back family room that was all wood paneled, and so it would be that memory that I would go
Mm.
that like the aura of it. And
Mm.
another little addendum to that is that in when I was in high school, I used to like to make scones. Nanny loved scones.
Mm.
And she
Mm.
loved Jeff Smith's Frugal Gourmet. Aaron used to call him the Frugal of Gourmet. The Frugal of Gourmet's recipe. So darling.
So great.
The Frugal of Gourmet recipe. She loved them. I made them for her. And then I started making them for a very small group of my best friends. I took them to my best Ben Travers's house. I would drop them off. I took them to Rob De Silva's house. I took them and made them for Nanny naturally, but she was coming over. I would make them for
Yeah.
Matt's family. I can't remember if I made them for Sherry, but I know that I made them for Ben and for Rob. And Daddy and I would go and we would deliver them. And he would take
Mm.
me. And then when I And I don't know how this happened. So maybe I actually did this in college because my dad was way too strict to, like, I couldn't have possibly gotten into a bar before I
Mm.
was like underage. But when I was in college, this had to have been it. He and I would go, and then we would go someplace and we would have a pint someplace, but we didn't want mom
Mm.
to know, which I think mom, now you
Oh,
know, like, I
yeah,
think you knew anyway. But then there was the time
right.
that he told me to go home and put some peanut butter in my mouth so that she wouldn't
Mm.
smell anything on my breath, which was just like,
So,
ooh,
yeah.
dad,
Does that work?
wow. I mean, it's pretty hard to smell anything but peanut butter
Mm.
after you've eaten
True.
peanut butter, evidenced by every time my dogs have peanut
Yeah.
butter on their licky mat and then come over and give me
Mm.
a big wet one. So I have
That's
that
really,
sweet kind of covert memory with him, and the Christmas Eve feeling, the and it
mm.
had nothing to do with presents, had everything to do with the food
Yeah.
and bad singing. That's my
Give
happy
me,
past.
what about what's one that you would not want to revisit? Is there one that you would not, Christmas past, like Scrooge was shown things from his past that made him reflect on how he had treated his love or how he prioritized work over his fiance, anything from the past that you would be like, no thanks, I don't need that to come back.
I have to, if I'm just going to be raw and messy, 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 I will never, I will never truly get over the, the hurt that I know that I caused by ending my first marriage.
Mhm.
Period. End of story. Like, it
Yeah,
could make me cry at the drop of a hat. I've had so much therapy. I just texted Chris this morning, just saying, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you going to be
yeah,
home around your birthday? His birthday is the beginning of January."
yeah.
Finding out if he was going to come back to visit with his folks, and knowing all the things that I know, and not boring everybody, and but knowing that I had to make a decision that was going to be for the betterment of my future, and also
Hmm.
knowing that if I felt the way that I did, I couldn't possibly believe that I could show up for him in the way that he deserved. Because
Hmm.
if somebody wants out, you can't possibly allow someone to have the openness or truly realize the life or have everything that they are going to have and do and be if they're
Hmm.
stuck with somebody who is not bringing their whole self to the situation.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, like, I can, even in my body, like my throat chakra, I can feel it closing up. It
Yeah.
is the place that I will forever feel the most guilt about, and
Mm.
the saddest about, even though I
Mm.
knew how important it was for me and how important it would
Mhm.
be for him, so that he would
Mm.
have his true life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, that was even lower than losing, maybe on par with losing my dad. But I think those two moments for sure. And I think,
Yeah.
honestly, I think the marriage piece, because that was all me. And
Mm.
when someone dies, someone passes, like, dad couldn't
Yeah.
help it. Like,
Yeah.
I just had to deal with it. But with
Yeah.
me, it was dealing with a choice that I had made, and that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
still guts me. Even talking about it, my body's tingly.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that. I
It's
know
my
it because it's, well,
yeah.
I know it just because I know you, and I know that's the thing. And I also know it because it's one of the things that we share. When I think about the ghosts, there are a couple ghosts from Christmas past that um would be hard for me to look at if they came to visit. And one of them is how I navigated my divorce of my first marriage. And
Mm,
similar to, like, I won't reiterate all of the things that you said because it's a very, very similar thing around, like, obviously knowing that it takes two people to create a relationship, having all of the self-reflection, owning the pieces that I know I could have done differently, and also knowing that my leaving caused as much pain as it
yeah.
caused, even as warranted as it was, and how I navigated the process
Yeah.
Um, if, a lot of people talk about like, do you regret anything in your life? Like, and typically I will like, regret is not something that I have. It's because I know that I had to go through it because that's been that's my soul's curriculum to learn a particular lesson, probably for the other person to learn the lesson. But I do have regrets. I do have regrets of how I handled myself. Um, and if I were in that scenario now, I would handle it so much differently.
Yes.
Like, and so like that's the
Yes.
part for me where it's like, do I spend a lot of time thinking about it? No. Does it come back and jab me every now and then? Not like it used to, but like if
Yeah.
I really am I ask the question and to think about like what would a memory that would be like, ooh, like stabby, that would definitely be one of them. And then the other one is more of a kind of a general theme, but when Frank and Frank and my mom moved in with us in 2012 um, from Florida, and we all lived under the same roof for 3 years. And he died in 2015. And it was really hard to live as an
Yeah.
adult in one home with one's parents, being
Yeah.
married and all of those, and not having like a separate, in-law apartment, but all like one kitchen,
Right.
all of that kind of stuff. And I felt like during that time, I had put up so many boundaries in a way where it made me a little less soft, made me a little harder, made me a little
Mm.
bit um, walled up when it came to my parents, and particularly since Frank is not here any longer, my mom is. Like, I
Mm.
have such regret for the moments where I was harsh with him, or I
Mm.
was boundaried with him, or I put up a wall where I could have just rubbed his little bald head and said, I love you.
Yeah.
Um, if I had the opportunity to do that again, I would do it so very differently, and I would have been more loving, more generous
Mm.
of my kind of emotional landscape with him. Not that like he knew, like we knew how much we loved one another. I mean, we played tennis weekly, like we did so much together. So there was no doubt he knew he was loved. But for myself, I could feel myself being a little walled up, and it makes me sad that I don't have that opportunity to do that over with him. But I'm actively trying to do that differently with my mom and
Mm.
make sure that I don't do something similar in that scenario, or kind of did a little bit with my brother as well. And so those two would be the hardest memories to kind of like be visited by and to look at. And then oh gosh, the one that I would just revel over. There There are a couple. I'm going to choose two, and it's not one memory, but just the moments where Frank and I uh, would go and play tennis, um, and literally up until he died, he was 83 when he died. Like, I had to work super hard to beat him.
Hmm.
Like, I had, and I would not let him win. I wouldn't let him have, I wouldn't let him do
He
it.
was good.
And so I would love to watch some of those epic tennis matches from afar that we had with one another. And then the other one is just watching my grandmother and I play Scrabble together,
Mm.
when she would put and or watch Frank and my grandmother play Scrabble together. When she would put
Mm.
inappropriate words on the table, she would put cunt, and Frank would be like, Connie, you can't put that down. And she's like, yes, I can, because it's a word.
It's a word. Right. Love it.
Or she'd put shit or
Mm.
fuck or whatever on it, and Frank didn't swear. And so it was just really,
I love
so yeah,
it.
those were a couple of the memories that would bring me joy to watch.
I find it almost eerie how similar our paths have been, uh, you were talking about the regretful piece, and it reminded me, it reminded me of a something that I wouldn't want to be reminded of when you were talking about being softer with your folks.
Mm.
When dad had his tumor, and he had to mom and I had to decide to put him in kind of like a nursing home environment for a couple of
Mm.
weeks. Well, actually, it ended up being about 8 weeks,
Yeah.
because she had to have back surgery. And this is when Chris and I were still together, and Chris was in Las Vegas, and I was home with my mom, with helping
Mm.
her through back surgery, but I couldn't take care of her
Mm.
and Aaron and dad at the same time. And so dad stayed at the facility, and dad didn't really know what was going on at the time. And he was confused, and he was kind of agitated. And I wish that then, after that period of time ended, and when he did come back home, he would ask me for things like a rum and a Coke. Or he would ask me for things like eggnog. And I was on such my fucking high horse about his health and helping him be okay. And I just wish, and I say it to him all the time, I wish
Yeah.
that I had just given you the drink. I wish that I
Yeah.
had just given you, I didn't tell Nanny not to eat ice cream like during the
Right.
last couple of weeks that she was alive. Like I wasn't, but with him, I wish that I wish I
Yeah.
had been softer. And now with mom, I mean, evidenced 2 calls this week. Thank you for XYZ thing that you used to do for me at Christmas time or what have you, just trying to share these memories. I wish that, I think that I want to maintain a presence of mind as we continue to lose people in our lives, and that we show up and that we are soft and fun and light, because you don't
Yeah.
get a chance to go back and do that again.
Yeah.
One other thing that I wanted to add on before I forgot. I love listening to you talk about how you wouldn't have made a different choice when it came to your marriage ending, but that you would have done it differently.
Mhm.
And I, as much as I said earlier that I could still cry at the drop of a hat, mm, I have felt better. I am stronger. I own
Mm.
my choices. I'm not that fragile, even though sometimes I feel like I am. It always comes from a place of wanting the other person to be okay and to be happy, right? And so yes,
Yes.
I've always loved how sensible you have been about not apologizing for being true to yourself, but the way in which things had happened.
Mhm.
From a regret, no regret, as Parker and I lament at times about the tough roads that both of us had in our previous marriages, I would be remiss to not bring up the fact that for both of us, I don't want to speak for him, even though he has said this as well, I would not trade
No.
any of the badness, anything in, because then you wouldn't be where you are and I wouldn't be where I am.
Correct.
And just as I said to him, it was 10 years ago this Christmas Eve. So within in
Hmm.
6 days, it'll be 10 years since the night that I had a dream about him after
Yeah.
reading a Facebook post that he had written that year about the loss of his father, and my saying, hey, I think that this is the first year without your father, and I'm thinking about
Mm.
you, and this is really weird, and I haven't talked to you in 18 years, but I had a dream
Yeah.
about you and I just hope that you're okay. And then days later, his responding to me saying, well, in fact, it's my first year without my dad and also without my wife. And it was like, oh my goodness, what might this Christmas blessing be? Could you possibly be my ghost of Christmas future? I don't know. Like, so it
Just
is,
saying.
it's a both and, baby. If like both and, I that would be one of my next tattoos, the
Yeah.
ampersand and just both and written someplace,
Yes.
because we wouldn't we wouldn't be here if not for
Yeah.
the
Oh,
the Christmas
ex
past, the presents, and we don't even know
and
what the future is.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And like that's what, Heather and I have talked about for the moments where that regret kind of how I navigated comes up. I too wouldn't change it because
Yeah.
I wouldn't change what happened because I would never have found my person,
Yeah.
right? I never would have found her. And
Yeah.
so it all unfolded, I think, as it had to. And so it's so much more joy, uh, especially, if we're talking about Christmas present, there's so much more joy and celebration because of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So, girl, I would love to keep talking to you for
I
like
know. I
hours.
know.
And I have a
Especially
hard
about
stop
you
today
do. You do.
because this is my little lunch break, and so I have to move
Thank you for making
onward.
time
Um,
to
but I feel like we
do
kind of
this.
have some more questions as it comes to these types of things. So it just makes me think about how have some of the losses in our lives, be it, Nanny, your dad, my granddad, brother, Frank, like how has that impacted how we are in the present with people? Because I think it's
Absolutely.
definitely influenced that. So I think there's more that we can chat about over some food,
And the
perhaps.
emotional, yeah, absolutely. And then the emotional deaths that we
Yes.
experience, and then and the rebirths,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ways that things come up, like
Like
phoenixes, a phoenix rising.
phoenixes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what parts of us have had to die in order for the parts of us now to
Yes.
show up. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a great conversation to bring Heather in on too.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Should be so beauteously insightful. Well, girl, you go on with your day. I'm probably gonna turn off this Zoom and probably cry a little because I can totally feel
Yeah.
it. It's just like
Yep.
it's just
Just let her,
I need a cleansing moment. I need to
let her rip.
learn how to work with that part.
Yep.
And this conversation just makes me realize even more so how deeply I love you and how much I adore you. And I'm so
I
grateful
love
that we
you.
can bring these parts of ourselves to each other, and to hopefully anybody else who decided to pull up a chair today and listen to a little gallows humor about grief and
Dead
happiness and
daddies.
dead daddies and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too,
Merry
sweetie
pre-Christmas
pie. Yeah. I'll talk to you like Monday, probably.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay. I love
love
you.
you. Bye.
Bye, babe.
Well, that was delish. Thanks for pulling up a chair with us at Women Around a Table Eating Food. You can find us here bi-weekly, so if you loved today's conversation, hit follow wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube or Instagram at Women Around a Table, and share it with a friend, because there's always room for more at our table.